Putting the U into YouTube, a quick video all about you, the viewer who subscribes and watches my videos. Here I'm looking at the demographics page that YouTube provides. As you might expect, most of my viewers are male, 96%. The proportion of females is around 4% in most countries, but there are some big variations. For instance, in the Netherlands, around 6% of my viewers are female, whereas in Germany it's only 2%. I should mention that these figures are for the last year, so they should be statistically reasonably reliable. Looking at the country where you all live, the US, as you might expect, was top, with over 100,000 views from the US in the last year of my YouTube channel. Then the UK at 43,000, which for its population is proportionally higher than the US. Similarly with Australia at 30,000 views in the last year, again proportionally higher than both the UK and the US. Next we have Germany at 16,000 viewers. Then we have Canada at 13,000 views and Netherlands at just under 11,000. For its population, the Dutch punch well above their weight in relation to viewership of English-based YouTube video channels. Then a whole heap of countries with around 9 or 10,000 views in the last year: Italy, Spain, Brazil and France. Then there's the age distribution. As you might also expect with radio and electronics hobbies, there's a bit of a skewing towards the older age group. Very little in the 13 to 17, a somewhat bigger number in the 18 to 24, with a peak in the 45 to 54-year-old age group. But there are significant variations between countries. In the US, 65 pluses were the biggest single age group, with 24% of viewers. That was closely followed by 48 to 54 at 23% and 55 to 64 at 21%. The patterns are a bit different in some other countries. Here in Australia, the biggest age group who watched these videos was aged between 35 and 44, with 32% of viewers. The next biggest was 45 to 54 at 24%, and then 55 to 64 at 19%. Those of 65 or above were just 9%. And just a reminder, that's a big difference to the 24% we had in the US and the 26% in Canada. As to the younger age groups, in Canada, 2.6% of viewers were teenagers between 13 and 17. Mostly though, it's at 1% or below. For instance, the United States at 0.9%, UK at 0.6% and Australia at 0.5%, though Italy was quite high at 1.7%. Moving to the next age range of 18 to 24, Italy was the biggest at 9.1% of its viewers in that age range. I thought that quite unusual, as Italy tends to have an older population profile. That was followed by Brazil at 7.2%, which is understandable given it has a younger age population profile. Here in Australia, 4.2% of viewers were between 18 and 24, similar to the US at 4.3%. Canada, though, was a touch higher at 5.6%, while the UK was much lower at only 2.7%. In the 25 to 34-year-old age group, Germany, with 22% of its viewers in that range, scored the highest. That's double that in Australia, with only 11% in that age range. Other countries were Brazil at 16%, the US at 12%, and the UK at 9.1%. Moving up to the 35 to 44-year-old age range, that's where we had the majority, or at least the single biggest group of viewers in Australia, with 32% of you being in that range. Germany at 27% was quite near, but no other country was quite as high as those two, although there are some in the 20s, like Italy, Spain and Brazil. As for 45 to 54s, that was the biggest group for Spain, with 40% of viewers in that age range. Generally though, it was around 25 to 30%. In the US, only 23%, Australia 24%, and the UK 32%. Just looking at these figures, this indicates that my videos have a slightly older age range audience in the UK and a slightly younger skew in Australia, with the US being about in the middle. Another way of explaining the differences between countries is to take 44 as, say, a midpoint and to see what proportion of you are under and over that age by country. Here in Australia, around 50% of viewers are under 44 and 50% over. The range is skewed in the UK, where the UK for under 44 is 19 plus 9 plus 2.7 plus 0.6, so that's about a third, and then 2/3 of you in the UK are over 44. In the US, the age profile is a bit different again. If we add the 44 and under, it's 16 plus 12, which is 28, plus another 5%, so that's again about a third, and then 2/3 over 44. The striking thing about the US and Canada is the number of 65 pluses who are big YouTube viewers. In other countries, 65 pluses seem to be much smaller viewers of YouTube, particularly here in Australia at only 9% and in Germany at 5.6%. In fact, in Germany, the number of 18 to 24-year-old people watching these videos at 5.3% is not much less than those of 65 plus watching these videos at 5.6%. Similarly, in Australia, 11% of my viewers are 25 to 34, compared with 9% at 65 plus. So that's a quick wrap-up of the mix of viewers that this channel attracts. Many older male Americans, but as you saw in the figures, by no means a majority, with many people from younger age groups in particular countries also apparently enjoying this channel. Looking at likes and dislikes, the least liked video was the one where I suggested there are other methods apart from using printed circuit boards that were sensible for building electronic projects with. A topic obviously with polarised opinions. And for some reason, people didn't like the video showing the RF quietness of southern Tasmania. Maybe they're just envious. Also, the video called Making Money with Ham Radio, done some time back, where you saw that I have a suit and occasionally wear it, that got polarised opinions as well, possibly from people who didn't think that ham radio and money should be in a sentence together. As for the videos that people most liked, those on simple antennas, particularly magnetic loops, and simple QRP transceivers were the most popular. People might not necessarily build transceivers, but they certainly still enjoy watching videos on them. Examples of favourite videos included the 100-watt magnetic loop for an apartment, electronics on the floor, the 5 reasons not to use printed circuit boards, as I mentioned before, that had a lot of dislikes as well as likes, and some other videos on the Pixie QRP transceiver project, doing some mods to it, and various phasing, SSB and double sideband rigs. Videos about antennas are the most popular. In fact, the top 3 are on antennas. 2 of them on magnetic loops, and the one in the middle on an end-fed half-wave. The number of minutes watched has shown an increase. And as for audience retention, that is, the average number of minutes that people persist with a video, pretty flat, with a tendency to increase in the last couple of months. Another number is the number of people subscribing. It seems to have been fairly flat, with an increase just in the last couple of months, probably coinciding with my holidays, where more videos were made. As to where you see these videos, nearly all of it saw it on a YouTube watch page, 93%. Secondly, it was embedded in an external website or app at under 7%. what devices are you using to watch these videos? The home computer is still king at 66% of watch time minutes. That's followed by the tablet at 15% and then the mobile phone at 14%. 4.4% of you watched me on TV and 0.5% on a game console. Then there's the average view duration, how long on average that you're putting up with me. You'd expect it to be a bit longer on a home computer than on, say, a mobile phone, where people are more likely to be on the go. But that's not what the numbers bear out. 2 minutes and 25 seconds for the computer, and 2 minutes and 28 seconds for the mobile phone, i.e. an insignificant difference. However, when people are in front of the TV, it's much longer, at 3 minutes and 45. In front of your telly is definitely the place you'd be for more leisurely viewing.